evening and welcome to the Lite Night. My name is Olga Nesterova. This week has felt like continuation of December, and quite honestly, 2021 feels like 2020 but with a wig on. Perhaps on heels, perhaps with some twisted sense of humor. But aside from nowadays the usual impeachment peep show and spineless politics, our new president has signed 40-plus executive orders trying to reverse our race into nowhere. He took care of immigrants, LGBTQ community, racial equality, climate change, healthcare, vaccine distribution and testing, and kept a steady fight to give the American people more than $600, or plus minus the amount former president allegedly paid in his federal taxes. President Biden also spoke to several world leaders, including the man in allegedly very expensive castle. The First Lady started on her mission that was long due, and she's expected to help reunite migrant families separated at U.S.-Mexican border. No, she didn't wear any fun messages on her jacket. In most exciting news, Champion Major, the first dogs of the United States have arrived at the White House. Although they are, dogs, they're still expected to make less damage to federal property than certain humans. Lastly, COVID is still here and has at this point reinvented itself more than Madonna. Dr. Fauci declared wearing 2 masks as a logical move, and some folks even decide to wear 3. Vaccines aren't 100% protective, and the coverage syncs with the number of new versions of the virus popping up in the news. So, social distance, wear a mask, 1 or as many as you can handle, and stay the heck home. If you can survive without it, you probably don't need it. Period. Speaking of the Senate, it seems like right now we experience the fight between ideology wearing a MAGA hat and common sense. And you can't blame the Congresswoman Liz Cheney for it. She might be on whatever side of politics, but she's got common sense. A classy move from former President Bush this week as well. He publicly congratulated his former Vice President Dick Cheney to his 80th birthday and, I quote, thanked him for his daughter's service. That is how you show support. Yet, there is still denial, illusion, and noise. You hear trumpets everywhere. And don't get me wrong, I understand and I respect the views of Republican Party, but I'm sort of scared to understand the views of the Trump's fan base. After hearing the baseless claims about the rigged election and public support of white supremacy, we can say this: if you're not against it, you're for it. And if you're not seeking a solution, you are part of the problem. And then came Robinhood. So what happened? May I quote from New York Times. An online army of investors who have been on a mission to challenge the dominance of Wall Street rapidly bid up the price of stocks like GameStop, entrapping the big money hedge funds that had bet against the stocks. Some of these individual investors have reaped huge profits, while at least one major hedge fund had to be bailed out after facing huge losses. So yeah, not that Robin Hood we read about, the guy who took care of the poor. The reverse. This was the Robin Hood app guy who stopped the poor from getting the bag. Or at least he decided how big the bag should be. And yeah, he ran out of cash but somehow managed to get $1 billion from his investors to stay afloat, after he stopped the Reddit guys from continuing on their mission. And I wondered, how does it actually mirror our situation in the society? The little guy climbs the ladder using the tools of the rich, and these get angry. How did you find my tools? How dare you to use them? Think of the response to the challenges in our society. AOC, being constantly referred to as a bartender, although she has been an elected official since 2019. Black Lives Matter movement. What, now they protest, speak up? They show that they're angry? Women rights. How many still complain about our new Vice President, Kamala Harris, and spit out some hateful comments about her past? Same response, isn't it? People who have it all don't like change. They don't like competition. Imagine you've been the fastest runner for as many years, and then some young fella starts running right behind you, then right next to you. He's wearing cheaper shorts, shoes, nothing really crazy about him, and yet you realize you can't really outrun him. Because maybe you're 90 and you deserve to ride a memoir instead of running, but that's another story. And all you can do is stick your foot out and make him trip all over it. And then the question is, would you do it? That's when integrity kicks in. Remember the quote by John Wooden: "The true test of a man's character is what he does when no one is watching." And now imagine the whole world is watching you. Would you do it? Would you find dignity? And that's what the real Robin Hood did. This one just had the same name. In another news, Twitter fight, AOC versus Ted Cruz. Yes, that happened. First, they did agree over the badness of Robin Hood, then Cruz proposed to work together, and AOC reminded him that he was a part of the Trump train and still sort of is trying to manipulate the fan base, and the world went wild. How dare she not accept unity? Don't they have to work together? Exactly, they do. And since it's been quite turbulent lately, it's difficult to work with someone whose spineless acrobatics are impressive. What unity? You first have to face consequences to find common ground and then have reliable people. And then there was the infamous Mar-a-Lago pilgrimage performed by the House Leader McCarthy, looking like a happy fan on a picture with his idol at Madame Tussauds. And it's not our job to dictate whom to worship, but when you are an elected official, it kinda is. Embarrassing. Why is GOP silent? You answer. And then, of course, there was the QAnon princess Congresswoman Green, whose social media showed her harassing a teenager who survived a mass shooting, aside from her standing loud and proud in public in support of various hate groups and conspiracy theories, and yet no consequences. The spineless politics at its worst indeed. Imagine talking about hurting your boss at your job. Imagine do that publicly. I don't think even McDonald's would tolerate that, but she could. And then there is the question, how did it happen? How was she elected? So let's turn to the Constitution to find out, what do you need to have to be elected? Section 2, Clause 2, Article 1 says, "No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained to the age of 25 years and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which he shall be chosen." So, simply put, you gotta be 25 years of age or older, you gotta be a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years, you gotta reside in the state you want to represent. So, no educational requirements, no specific professional experience, nor you gotta have a clean record in principle. Are these rules enough for 2021? You decide. And so what happens when you face no consequences? Imagine you got a cat, and it's cute, but it's pooping everywhere. And you're like, that's okay, it's not that much, she's gonna stop. So years go by, you lose your friends. They see you as that cuckoo with the a-hole cat. Why? Because this cat didn't face any consequences. Now, you can unite with your shitty cat as much as you want, but still, like, alone. So what do we learn? First consequences, then unity. Otherwise, they will continue pooping. Ew. But let's get serious though. Parkland shooting is a heartbreaking event. We can only wish this was a stage play, as this congresswoman claims it to be. The tears are real, the kids are really gone, and real pain will always remain in the parents' hearts. Just stop. And so, Republican Party, is this the best you got? Do you see the parallel between her and Trump? Both shiny, provocative, and disturbing. See the results that occurred. It's not all about the re-election. Most importantly, it is about the substance and validity of the party that calls itself patriotic. Why does a political party support people in public sector who are interested solely in publicity, or as kids call it these days, the clout? You decide. And no, don't see it as some sort of hate towards Republican Party. It's the attempt to actually save it. Stop spreading old theories. They're obsolete. Racism, sexism, old news. The world has moved on, and yes, America is a relatively young country, but it doesn't justify its childlike behavior. Well, this time with real guns instead of toys, and a messed up country instead of a messed up playroom. People like me come to America to give, to adapt, to integrate, to do our best, to live and let live. This country is the country of opportunity. So the choice is ours, day by day, action by action, and comment by comment, we make our choices known. So let's be wise about them. This week we witnessed the actual power of the people. On one hand, you see the result when people elect an arrogant, clueless fool to represent their state. On another, when people united on Reddit and literally flipped the hedge fund game on its head. When we unite, we are capable of doing unimaginable things. As thousands continue to be arrested in Russia protesting their own regime, we need to be mindful not to grow ours. United we stand. United we conquer. Let's continue to get educated. Let's be careful about whom we choose to represent us. It's our face after all. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Olga Nesterova. Have a good night, and I see you next week right here on Lite Night.